social studies today. We're going to look at this reading timeline PDF. So on your iPad, if you could open that up. I'm going to take a peek at that for a couple of minutes.
What's it called?
Reading a timeline. Reading a timeline PDF is what we're going to open up here. Shouldn't, it's only like 2 pages. Does it really take a long time?
Yeah.
Man, oh man. Mine didn't. There it is. Okay, so we're looking at 2 timelines, okay, that we're going to kind of compare. We're going to find some similarities and differences. What do timelines do for us? We've talked about timelines before. John? Yeah, it shows what happens during a span of time, or here in this case, it just kind of shows several years and what happens during those years, okay? It might be important events. You could do a timeline of your life where it's important events that have happened at various times, okay? So a timeline, if I look here, these are parallel timelines. That's a math word. What does parallel mean?
What's
that mean? Nick?
It's not like it's like a number timeline.
It's not a number.
The shape.
Parallel has nothing to do with numbers. It's a math term, but it has nothing to do with numbers. That's interesting, right? When we think math, we think numbers.
Shapes.
Emmy?
I think it's when like there's at least they're like in a shape. They're not
Okay, yes. It does have to do more with shapes.
There's like pairs.
Okay, so if I have parallel lines, let me get in front of my video here, they aren't ever going to intersect. So squares, right, have 2 sets of parallel lines. Rectangles have 2 sets of parallel lines. So they continue forever, but they're never going to cross or intersect. They're never going to touch.
Oh, the bottom
Okay.
and top one.
Yeah, the bottom and the top. So that's what a parallel line is. So these are running parallel to each other. They're showing you the same years, okay? And notice here, there's nothing there, right? But down here there is. But in order for it to be parallel or similar, it has to show that year. And nothing significant happened as far as Britain was concerned in 1772.
Wait, why is yours
Okay.
colored?
Well, yours should be. Here. This is the same one you have. Oh, you're looking at the worksheet.
Oh.
You want the PDF. Okay, so we're going to read these parallel timelines, and they help compare events that happened at the same time but in different places. So this is what happened in Britain. This is what happened in America. So the parallel timeline is made up of, I'm here, 2 or more timelines. Each timeline shows the same period of time but events that happened in different places. The parallel timeline below shows important events that happened between 1770 and 1776. So that was kind of the span of when the revolution started, right? Okay, events that took place in Britain, and the bottom shows, part of the timeline shows important events that happened in the colonies. All right, let's look at this timeline. See if we can answer number 1. Which took place first, the Boston Massacre or the passage of the Coercive Act? So I'm going to look here at my timelines. 1770 says the Boston Massacre takes place. Over here. Parliament passes the Coercive Act. So which one happened first? Which one took place first, Nick?
The Parliament passed the Quebec.
This one happened first. This was in
and the-
1774, and this was in 1770. So the massacre took place first, right?
I was looking because I thought the top line was before.
Oh, gotcha.
and then it
Nope,
was-
so these are the same years, remember? Okay. Number 2, which timeline shows the date the Declaration of Independence was approved? So the Britain or the American one? Maya?
The American.
Right, the American Revolution, which is all the way down there. It says the Declaration of Independence approved. Okay, 1776. In what year did the First Continental Congress meet? Emmy?
1774.
Yep, 1774 right here. And then we have number 4. Did the First Continental Congress meet before or after the repeal of the Townshend Acts. So we know the first Continental Congress is here. And here is where Parliament repeals most of the Townshend Acts. So did it happen, what did it say, before or after? John?
Townshend Acts were repealed before the first Continental Congress.
So this happened before this?
No, after.
Yeah, the the Continental Congress met after the Townshend Acts were repealed.
That's why they met.
Okay. All right. Make it relevant. Says we're not going to draw anything, but that's what you're looking at today. Let me go. Some parallel timelines. We've talked about timelines. Now you're just looking at two of them. So your social studies assignment today is going to be the timeline worksheet. I'll pull that up here quick, and before I let you go work, there's a couple other things I want to talk about. So here's the timeline. You're looking at the American and the Revolution, and then France and the Revolution. So it asks you to distinguish between the two. If you just call this the American timeline and this the France timeline, that's fine. Okay, but it's the same thing. We've got two timelines, the same years. Okay, just notice some of these kind of happen in between. Okay, this is 1774, 1775. So check those years with the information. Sometimes we look up here and just say, oh, this is down there, so it happened in 1770. But that's not the case, is it? It actually happened in 1774.
Yeah, because that
Okay.
line.
Yeah, because this line is
That's the
coming
one
over
that was
here.
very top
But they're
down.
showing you in between what happened. So make sure you're checking the years and the information. So there are 2 pages with this. There's the first 4 questions. Okay.
And then another.
And then there is this second page, which has the 10 questions. Here it's asking for 3 events, okay, in which the French helped the British surrender at Yorktown. So 3 separate things for that one, okay? So that's the timeline. That is your worksheet for today. And let me grab back to Schoology here. I posted in updates a couple of things. Actually, one thing. Our next contest with our class, Mrs. Bush's class, and Mrs. Long's class, for those of you that are at home, it's not required. You don't have to do this, okay? But whatever class wins gets another 10 points, because that's what I made the poster contest worth, 10 points. We're nearing the end of our Revolutionary War kind of contest we have going on here, okay? I'll give points when we do the Chapter 9 test. I'll give points to those that get A's, and that'll kind of be our last thing, and we'll see which class won the battle.
And
The
then
Loyalists
surprise?
or the Patriots.
You get a surprise?
So this, yeah, I'll have to go back to the updates and see. I thought we talked about one class would get extra recess when it warms up.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is another contest. Like I said, it's not required. You don't have to do it. Okay. But it's here. If you want to work on it, you can. So you're going to take and design or draw. You're not really designing anything. You're drawing the uniforms that either the Loyalists or the Patriots wore. So we're the Patriots. Okay, so you would draw the Patriots. Okay, if you're Mrs. Long's class, you're drawing the Patriots. If you were Mrs. Bush's class, you're a Loyalist. So you would be drawing the Loyalist uniform. Notice it has to be drawn on paper. Okay, I don't want you using your iPad and sketchbook and Notability to draw something. It has to be drawn on paper, and then you take a picture of it and you submit it that way.
Wait.
I'm not answering questions right now. We're just listening. I'll collect those pictures because I'm going to hang them up here on the board outside our door. Okay, and there will be one winner picked for 10 points towards the Loyalists versus Patriots contest. Okay, and it's very close. I think Mrs. Bush's class was winning by like 3 points.
3 points, yeah.
Okay, so it's a very close contest right now. So this is one more contest, and then we'll have the Chapter 9 test. A+ scores will get points towards their class as well. All the more reason you should be studying. The test will be Friday. Okay, so it doesn't hurt to start reviewing now. You'll have a study guide on Thursday. There were 4 lessons. So looking back over that information and making sure you have your notes up to date, your vocab people places. Okay, those reading check questions, I've talked about those. Those are important. If you can answer a lot of those, you should be fairly well prepared for the test. Okay? So these are the requirements for this contest. It has to be drawn on paper. It's going to be more of a diagram. Okay, so if you look in your social studies textbook, it had some things labeled. Make sure you're labeling some of those pieces of the uniform that are unique or special to the Loyalists or the Patriots. Okay, it should be colored appropriately, meaning should the Loyalists or the British soldiers be colored blue? No, because their uniforms weren't blue. Okay, so that's what I mean by appropriately and obviously neatly. Okay, so it has to be done on paper. You're going to draw it on paper. You can use your iPad. You just can't use it to draw on your iPad. Okay, Nick.
So like we could just like look up a picture of what they look like and then.
Right, that's what it says here. You can look up a picture. You can use the iPad to help you find a picture of an example to draw it, but I don't want you drawing it on the iPad. Because more times than not, you're just going to copy and paste it and print it off and make it your own. I want you to draw it.
I know, yeah, I am.
Okay.
But I'm gonna, there's the light box tracing.
Okay.
Are we allowed to trace it?
You could.
Yeah.
As long as you're not doing it on the iPad. Yeah. Okay, other questions about this? Remember, it's not required, it's an option, you don't have to do it. Okay, whatever uniform drawing wins will get 10 points for their team. Okay, Hunter, question? Well, you can grab that. All right, Chapter 9 test on Friday, that was the other thing I wanted to mention, and I think we're pretty good. So today you're working on the timeline worksheet, 10 questions. Okay, looking at, reading, and comparing those timelines. Other questions about what you're doing today? Nope. All right.